Do you guys use Google Analytics annotations? Meaning, if you've made title tag changes, or if the web developer made some changes, this, that, the next thing. I have buckets of them. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get the from the web developer. Let's say I get my bucket list of changes on the site. And anything I think that might affect search or might affect anything I'm doing, I go and I make an annotation in Google Analytics. And anything I'm doing, not finance stuff, but let's say I made a money page or whatever, I went and made some title tag and this and that changes, I go make annotations in Google Analytics. Anybody else doing that?
My father used to do stuff like that in a notebook. Being able to
until I realized I could just put them in my analytics.
being able to annotate the analytics themselves is much easier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I use that excessively, and it drives people crazy, and other clients love it because analytics and see what's going on. Usually I have a default list whenever I take over a new client. I go through and drop in all the major updates, just so that they have something to look back on and say, oh, look, here's where your traffic dropped and here's where this major update happened. Let's take a look at that major update and see if that really did affect your traffic. It's a good starting point.
And I think it's key especially from an agency standpoint, either small agency, big agency, at any point. It's nice because I know that every one of my consultants can go in and see the same information. If I have to switch one over to the next, especially when they're on the phone with clients and things like that, it's not. Notes are great and Evernote's great, but to have it in the source information is so much easier.
Well, especially, if my team isn't dealing with the website itself, it's something I really, really, really like to train clients on, because web development teams do shit all the time, and I want change logs. And I don't mind that they go to analytics. I want at least monthly to get the change logs from the development team, so I can go look for anything that might affect me and go make my own notes in analytics. But
right, if
you could be interested. What did I do wrong? Because I changed the internal architecture this day and that day. What happened? I changed titles over here. Was it me? You don't have that developer change log, Sandy. Then it's harder to get forensic with it and figure out what might have happened. Positive, right. Things went up, went down. Why?
And one thing on that, Dave, that I like to do is you can reference in the annotations where that data came from. So you can say, like, here's my take on that.
Spreadsheet names,
have it.
XLS,
Exactly. Yep.
Back in the days when I was an admin at a forum, every time that Google would go through an update, we would wait for the people to start rolling in with questions asking about whether or not they got penalized by Google because of the update. It's like, and we'd go through the same series of questions. Did you change your website? Did you make any changes? Did your competitors make any changes to theirs? Did your industry change somehow so people stopped searching for one thing and started using different words to search for the same thing? And I don't think I've ever came across somebody who looked like they had been penalized.
To be honest with you, man, I did forensic work for like 4 or 5 years until it got depressing. And it was rarely ever one thing. You know what I mean? It was rarely. It was so many times when you see that hockey stick of the analytics going down from search traffic, it'd be, that perfect storm, Steve, you know what I mean? Like the developer did this day on the 301s, and the SEO guy did this, and then, it so many times, like you can't just, and we still see that. It's not forums anymore, it's Facebook groups, but you still see people coming in saying, okay, this and that happened, someone tell me what happened. You can't, you know what I mean? Unless you're really, and that's an SEO lesson for everybody out there, is if you're not yourself or your clients or whoever keeping track of the developer change logs, you may not have all you don't have all the information.
You should always try to have as much information as possible, and if you get it, document where you got it. And I think for 10 years I've been in the business of cover your ass, so somebody knows where you got the information, because there's nothing worse than, I love it. I love the annotations in analytics, especially when you have clients that are in reports that you didn't give them that are messing around, and then they can turn around and sometimes it saves you a phone call or saves
Google
you an email.
Data Studio. Google Data Studio. You're done.
Yep, I know. I'm working on that. That's a
I
side
don't
project.
even let them in there. Like, you know, and another thing, does your firm charge for you answering emails and talking to clients? Because I do. And that's the easiest way to shut them up. $150 an hour. Oh, yeah, okay. And then they go and look at my invoice at the end of the month and they see, you know, half an hour answering email, half an hour. They're like, yeah.
We did that as a consultant. That made sense.
I get that. I was in analytics today and I saw this report. I don't quite get this. Could you explain it to me? I'm like, yeah, I can. For $150 an hour, I can explain that to you. Sure. You know, that's fine by me. All right. So I was meaning to do this last week.
Do you build
go ahead,
5-minute increments, 15-minute increments, 30 increments?
15.
An hour only.
Yeah, so 15. So if it takes me 5 minutes to answer that email, it's 15 right off the bat. If it goes to 6, if it goes to 60 minutes, you're getting a whole half hour.
I do half an hour minimum because you distracted me from what I was working on.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I should probably do that too.
So that's
it takes you out of the groove of what you're doing, right? So
right. Unless I answer it like later on in the day, and then I'll just sit there and I've got 3 emails from the client. I'll add up 3 5-minute conversations and bill 1/2 hour.